Welcome student to the lecture series of Foundation of Mathematical Foundation of AI, ML and Data Science. Today in this lecture we will cover the measure of dispersion. So dispersion means that the degree to which the data values are spread out or scattered throughout a central value. So it helps us to understand the variability, the stability and reliability of data, that how the data is reliable. While the measure of central tendency, for measure of central tendency you can take anything like mean, median and mode. Mostly mean is preferred. Tell us the center of data measures the dispersion and tells us how the spread out the data is. So let's see with the help of some diagram. So suppose that this is our axis. The dispersion is just the study of how the data is spread on certain dimensions. So these dots which represents the single value of a data. So we have to study how the data is varying with the respect to the central tendency, that is the mean. That is what the dispersion is. Okay. So there could be two types of measure of dispersion. The first one is the absolute measure of dispersion. Second one is relative measure of dispersion. Any techniques can be used. Okay, any technique can be used to study or to measure the dispersion. So first we will take absolute, and we'll see that what includes in absolute. So types of measures of dispersion. We have the measures of dispersion can be classified into absolute measures of dispersion. So express the variability in the same unit as the data is. That is absolute measurement of measure of dispersion. The common methods are, you find the range, quartile deviation, mean deviation or the standard deviation. So in the coming lectures we will study these one by one, what they are and how they are calculated. Whereas for the relative measure of dispersion, they express that variability in the form of ratios, percentage or the coefficients. Okay, making the comparison possible. So if you want to compare the two things, that are two data sets, so you have to better use the relative measure of dispersion, and mostly we use coefficients, or in terms of percentage we can also use. So relative measures expresses the variability without units, one of the most fundamental point, making it possible to compare the spread of two or more than two data sets. Okay, and these data sets can be of different magnitudes. So when we are comparing in terms of ratios or percentage, so everything is normalized, and we can have the better picture that which has the better measurement around the central tendency, what is the spread and many things. And the common methods are coefficients of range, coefficient of quartile deviation, coefficient of mean deviation and coefficient of variation. These are the common methods used. Now the applications of dispersion. To measure the consistency in sports, exam or in production, you have lots of applications where you can measure this, where you can apply this. To compare two or more data sets with different units. In finance, the risk analysis uses the standard deviation and coefficient of variation. CV stands for coefficient of variation. In quality control, lower dispersion means better consistency. These are the applications of dispersion. Okay. Thank you.